No clue where that was going. Ayo! Yeah. I know, I did the focus thing on purpose. I was trying to be cool. That was my sad attempt. I don't know how to like I used to start the streams like that, and then I would suddenly turn the camera on. But it was funny. My son's iPad has. Oh, first off, hello everyone. Sorry, being rude. Let me know if the autofocus is doing anything weird tonight. It was before, but hello everybody. What I was saying, my son was listening to his iPad, which has all the music from my phone on his iPad as well, because it's my Apple name. But and he played that Timon song. I'm like, man, I haven't played that song forever. I'll play it tonight. So I like listened to it and played through it for like a second, and then I was like, I'm gonna totally butcher this when I go live, and sure enough, I did. There we go. But how is everybody? Happy holidays, everyone. If you're celebrating it, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, the whole shebang. Check it out. You know, I realized something was missing from the last. Focus looks just right. Awesome. The last stream, I was like, I was so tired the last couple of streams. You know what? Didn't have any caffeine coursing through my veins. Woo! All right, I'm going to calm that down. I haven't even had caffeine yet. Why do I think of the Positive Grid bias amps? Do you mean like the software stuff? I did a lot of stuff with Positive Grid when they first came out. I helped them with a lot of stuff. And they were always super nice to me. I've gotten, like, I use the Axifex, which is obviously kind of like software in a sense. It has a hardware unit. But I'm just not really into the computer program stuff, I'll be honest. Unless it has some kind of physical presence where I can actually turn knobs and do all that stuff. You a Chicago guy, Rob? Am I from Chicago? No, I'm from Ohio. I like Chicago. Only thing I don't like in Chicago is your airport, I'm afraid. That's my all-time most hated airport. Good old EWR. I am still enjoying the new Strat. I actually made it a point not to start the stream with that with the Strat. I was like, I'm gonna start with this one. What's my favorite brand? I don't know if I have a favorite brand, to be honest. I just like guitars. Obviously brands like Fender and Gibson have a significant presence in me because that's just what I grew up seeing the most. And now I work with, Friedman and Vola and all these different brands. And I love Charvel. Charvel has a really special place for me because of Warren D. Martini. Sending love from Atlanta. Well, sending love from Ohio right back to you, Ben. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you very much, Harmony. Merry Christmas. Sorry, I can't see anything here. Oh, wow. Vish A. Thank you so much. So much. Jeez, I can't talk. Wow, that is incredibly nice. Sorry, there was no text in your super chat, but I'll if you forgot to put something in there, just let me know. I'll keep an eye out for you. Or if Big Red Tower is here, if you see Vish A post something, let me know. Thank you very much. Oh my God. Blue Dreams, thank you. Merry Christmas, dude. Hope you enjoy 2020. I've been wondering, what is your favorite chord to play and riff on? Favorite chord to play. You know what? Oddly enough, I have a few different chords. Mary Axpis, thank you so much. That's so nice. Favorite chord to play. I love this one. So I believe it's an A minor 9. So, someone who knows more about chords can probably tell me more about that. But I love the way that one sounds because it just. I use it. I guess I don't technically know how to use it, but I like to use it to end a lot of stuff. So if I'm playing something, you know. You know, it's kind of like you know how to use a word, but you couldn't like give a definition of the word. So that's kind of what that chord is for me. It's like I know how to like apply it, but I don't know necessarily the theory behind what it is that I'm playing. Because let's see, it's based out of A. It's got there's our fifth, there's our root, there's your minor third, there is your what is that? Your fourth, and then your minor seven. Was it a minor 9? I don't know. Taylor! What's up, buddy? Tony! What's happening, brother? Big Red Tower, thank you so much. And thank you guys for those super chats. That's so nice of you. How many guitars do I have in total now? You know what? I think I have too many. So I'm gonna be getting rid of some. I know in the Strat video I said like I'm done getting guitars, which I put that in there as a joke. Some people you know, understood it. It's just a joke. I'm not done getting guitars. Right now I'm currently Gabby's in her art room right behind me, so she can hear me talking about her. But basically, I'm having to fend her off. She wants to get an old Telly now. So she's all about it. She keeps sending me all these old Telecasters. I'm like, oh my god, this is like the worst situation. You know, I'm the one who's like saying like, no, let's not get this sweet old Telecaster. About 18, give or take, Robert. Yeah, that's probably about how many I have. Yeah, it depends. I have some guitars that I don't play that are strictly like sentimental guitars. Like I had a student give me like an Epiphone that was signed by Joe Bonamassa, and guitars like that. I don't play those guitars, so I don't know if they really count as like owning a guitar. I mean, technically they're a guitar, but I don't play them, so it's not like a working guitar. Is how I look at it. So I don't really know if those count. Taylor, I'm with Gabby. Get the Telly. Yeah. Well, so then I was like showing Gabby. I was like, well, what if we did this? Because I don't really want a Telly. I want an Esquire. Is what I really want. Because I've never played a Telecaster with a neck pickup that I like. And I was just like, you know, years ago, once I found out about Esquires, I'm just like, well, that's what I want. Like, boom, perfect Telly. There's not even a neck pickup on it. That's like, there's no decision making. You play the bridge. And the Esquire wiring is really interesting. So that's something, but that'll wait. I feel like I should get rid of something else. I was just messaging my buddy Shane. I was like, you know, this year I bought so much stuff and didn't really get rid of much. And it's getting to where there's a lot of stuff, and I'm like, man, I need to kind of chill out with that. Oh, Carl, thank you so much, buddy. Carl's question is pick feel, string skipping, jazz picks, and cerebral calm? Pick feel, string skipping, jazz picks. I'm not sure I totally understand your question. I have switched back 100% to the jazz 3 picks. You know, I used the Dragonheart picks forever. And actually, when I jammed with my buddy Sam Colson, he uses these jazz 3 picks, which I used jazz 3 picks for about 8 years before I switched to the Dragonheart picks for about 4 years. And I noticed something in his attack when he was playing and I was like, man, my attack is really rounded compared to his. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I bet obviously Sam has immaculate pick, alternate picking and just right hand chops that I don't have. But I was like, I think I need a sharper pick. And I bought, I have like 10 different kinds of picks sitting over here right now. And I got the Jazz 3s, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use them for a week, And I literally put all my other picks away, and I just have Jazz 3s everywhere. I'm like, I'm just gonna use only these for a week and see what happens. And I'm back to where I just want to use the Jazz 3s now. Oh, dude, Tony, thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas, buddy. Try the professional telly, Shaw's. Well, we have a telly. We have the blue one, which on camera it looks purple, but it's actually blue. That's just an old, I think 2013 American Standard. And then, of course, my Friedman telly. Do you think Gibson Tribute worth the money? Because I want to buy something that's Gibson, but is it worth the money? I've already had a guitar. Have a guitar, HB. Yeah, the tributes are fine. You know, I think the only Gibsons I didn't, after playing some other ones that I didn't care for, and there's nothing wrong with them. They were noticeably different. Were the special? I had an SG special. And then I played like an SG Standard, and it was a noticeable leap up in quality. And like I said, I'm not knocking the specials at all. I also had an American Special Strat that was really, really nice from Fender. Let me get one, Rob. Here, Jazz 3s, here you go. Now I have like packs of them. I bought a bunch of these and the black ones too. Taylor, am I going to get Pat 63? Pat hasn't called me back, man. I called him and left a message, and I haven't heard back from him. Tony, you do need a telly, brother. Like I said, my buddy Shane in the Blues here on YouTube just got a new telly, and I was telling him and Gabby, I was like, when I think of a telly, not an Esquire, they're different, but when I think of a telly, everyone has certain guitars when they think of a Strat, a Telly, a Les Paul, certain versions of that guitar pop into their head. So when I think of a Strat, I think of a Tobacco Burst Strat with a rosewood board. That's just what I think of because that's what I had. And when I think of a Telly, I think of a Blackguard. That's just what pops in my head when I think of a Telly. When I think of a Les Paul, even though it's not my favorite, I think of a Cherry Sunburst. My favorite is like the Honey Bursts and stuff like that are the ones I really like as far as the Burst and Tobacco Burst and those. But yeah, it's funny how like certain guitars, like when I think of Telly, I just think of a Blackguard is exactly what I think of. Tony, how do I like the Vintage S? Dude, I love it. I was worried about the Vintage S. Not worried about it being good or anything like that. It's just that it happened to get here so close to when I got the Strat, and I was like, man, the Strat is gonna kind of put the hurting on the Vintage S. And it didn't. They feel like two different guitars, like super, super different. The humbucker is a big thing that sets them apart. And they sound really, really different. So it's funny how I was kind of concerned for it, and I was like, oh my god, no, they're both amazing, both totally different. I thought about doing a video about that, comparing the two, but it's not the most fair comparison because this does have a humbucker in it. So Carl, thank you so much, dude. Ever hit up Texas Toast guitars? I have not. Get a Honey Burst. I think I'm thinking Les Pauls. I have not, man. My buddy Ike does a lot with them. I think I've pretty much, I've kind of like stepped further. Every year I kind of step further and further away from, working with too many companies. Like I've heard really good things about them. Ike speaks very highly of them. I believe you sent me some emails about them, and their guitars look cool. For me, it's just a matter of not wanting to be pushing too many different brands of gear, if that makes sense. And I'm kind of just like the person who's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When I get latched onto gear I really, really like, I just become really like dedicated to those brands. But next time I'm out there in Denver, I'll have to see if I can talk with him or something, because I've heard really, really good things about Texas Toast. I'm subscribed to their channel now. Maybe you sent me their link. I can't remember, but they seem like really cool guys. Oh, you bought one, Joe. That's really cool. Joe, you have to have the coolest guitar collection. You just have like non-stop amazing guitars. Taylor, you spent yesterday playing Nash Strat, dude. I can't wait for you to try this thing, man. This and the 63. You know, I can't wait for you to try them. I've been playing this thing all day. This one. Do you acoustic with your buddies on the couch amp? Not really, you know. I'm not much of an acoustic guy. I often like dabble in the mindset of like I'm gonna get an acoustic and add acoustic stuff to the channel, and that could be something that happens. If I got an acoustic, I'd really like to get a Martin, and I think that comes from my dad has a really, really, really nice Yari, and it all goes back to like this old country church that we went to when I was growing up. And the pastor and then a couple of the deacons there had these like super old from the 50s Martins, you know, that they bought new, like, you know, it's like a 52, you know, Martin or whatever it is, just these like super old Martins. So I just remember growing up seeing a lot of Martins around. Oh, Rafael Silva? Thank you so much for the super chat, dude. Hey, man, I have a doubt that eats my brain sometimes. I've been playing guitar for over 20 years, always as a hobby, and only this year I started being serious about it. I'm afraid I'm too old to learn how to shred. Merry Xmas. Well, thank you for the super chat again, dude, and absolutely not. You totally can. You know, I think a lot of times what I found that worked best for me is kind of just adapting to what comes the most naturally to you as a player. So for what I mean by this, for example, is for me, you know, ascending on the guitar is something, as far as like shredding goes, I tend to pick everything. You know, so if I do like a ascending run, whether it's pentatonic, you know, diatonic, 3-note per string, any of that stuff, I pick it all, which is more like that shreddy kind of stuff that you're talking about. Descending is a totally different beast. Like, there's guys like Andy Wood who can just blow your mind with the way they ascend and descend. But for me, descending just doesn't come naturally. So I tend to incorporate a lot more pull-up. So like when I'm descending, I go like there's always a pull-off. I'm almost never picking everything when I'm descending. If I'm like doing, even when I do that, or even like descending pentatonic. What I was talking with my buddy Sam Colson about this when we were jamming, because his picking hand is so good. So he's someone who can just, you know, burn it up. And this is just kind of tying into your shred question. In my mind, this is all tying together. But he was saying, I was asking him like tips on, you know, picking. And he was saying what he would do is like, you know, take a pentatonic scale, for example, and he just picks it all. But he tries to do it in like, you know, 16th notes or whatever. See, I'm bad at it. And I showed him, I was like, oh, when I do it, I'm throwing in pull-offs. So if you slowed down what I'm doing when I descend, I go. There's two key moments where there's pull-offs. And to me, when it comes to like the faster stuff, you just have to adapt to what is more naturally to you and not necessarily fight it. So if you're trying to get into the shred stuff, just because you can't pick everything like everyone else or can't do this or that, like Paul Gilbert or someone, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. You just have to kind of figure out what's going to work for you. Because like I said, when I do it, if I do that pentatonic thing, it almost sounds like I'm picking it all. But if you really slow down what I'm doing, That's what I'm doing. There's 2 pull-offs, very key pull-offs in there from my hand to reset. And if I kind of go medium speed, you can really hear it. You know, and I do that all over the place. Anytime I'm descending, anytime you see me do a fast pentatonic run, it's always like that. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit, man. And thank you again for the super chat. Sorry, I'm getting behind. Trying to decide between a Friedman and a custom shop Strat. I'll be totally honest with you, Joe. Hold on a second. Let me drink more caffeine. I went through the same thing, same decision that you were making, and I purposely went out and tried a bunch of custom shop Strats, and they are incredible, and you can't go wrong with them. But for me, I already knew kind of what I was getting into with the Friedman because I had a Vintage S before, and I didn't know if I could like totally like in my mind compare the two because I tried the custom shops months after I had the Vintage S, but there was just like something that stuck in my head about the Vintage S that I got to use for a couple months, and I'm like, I think I'm just gonna go Vintage S, and I really did, and I just played another custom shop the other day, and I was like, I'm glad I went Vintage S. And you know, I think these are probably a little bit cheaper than what some of the custom shops are gonna be. I can't remember what this one weighed in at. The custom shops were all like 7.5, and this one is right around there. Maybe it's 7.6, which I've said it many times. My favorite weight on a Strat is between 7 and 8. Excuse me. Shred lives. I'm not a shredder, so I can't do the super fast, crazy stuff. But we need to shoot. Oh yeah, to do a Straturday video, man. Oh. Yeah, Joe, see if you can just try one, man. Like I said, to each their own. I don't know if Tony's still here. Tony got a custom shop Strat and a Vintage S, and he ended up selling his Vintage S because I believe Tony liked the custom shop better. So it's to each their own. I don't think you can go wrong with either. If you know, if Fender has has more of like a symbolic value to you, I'd say get the custom shop Strat. You know, I don't think you can go wrong. Oh, thank you very much. 63 string stranger, 6-string stranger. Mason does have a guitar, my son, and just the other day he was saying that he wants to start learning guitar again. So we're gonna, I'm gonna see if he wants to keep kind of doing that stuff. He was just playing me. I don't know who the person is singing, but I'm sure you guys know this guy Marshmello. He's like a EDM, like dance music person. But there's a song he really likes, and he's just like playing on repeat. And he's like asking me, like, "That's guitar, isn't it?" And it has this. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You should learn it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And it was super simple, but it was just fun to kind of play a song that he liked. Oh, hold on. I can't remember any of the words to it, but I mean, it's super simple. But I was just like, you know what? At least there's guitar in this song, I mean, there's chords, a pretty standard chord progression, but Tony, there you go, Joe. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get another Cronus. Ooh, there you go. That's as far away from a Strat as you can get, but you can't go wrong with that either. Carl, thank you for the super chat, dude. He says, I feel I need you to help me work on leads. Are you in Lessons for an old timer. Thoughts? Oh, dude, thank you so much, man. Unfortunately, right now I'm not teaching one-on-one lessons anymore, Carl. But starting in January, I'm going to be starting something that is going to be kind of like a class format that people can do. That will be a little bit more affordable than my. So normally, what I would do is I did a 30-minute lesson. That like private one-on-one lesson through Skype. And I really just can't do that because of time restrictions now. But what I'm going to do is offer, right now we're going to probably keep it monthly. I'm going to see how it goes. It might be a bi-weekly thing. But monthly, I'm going to offer, it's going to be, I think like an hour, 15 minutes is how long I want to make it. And it'll be the same price as a 30-minute lesson, but you're going to get an hour. But there's going to be essentially 20 people in this kind of format. So you can see the chat's not moving too fast right now, and there's 158 of you. So this is going to be 20 people, and I'm going to prepare a monthly lesson that's going to be tabbed out with backing tracks, a whole, concept behind it, and I'm going to teach it, and at the end of each section, there's going to be a 5-minute Q&A for everyone. If they're like, hey, what are you doing with your picking there, or something like that. So that is going to be happening in January. So anybody who's interested in lessons, I've been getting lots and lots of emails about lessons, and I just, unfortunately, I can't really do them right now. But hopefully that will be the best kind of solution to still do that. Sorry, I'm getting out of breath talking so much. I am going to NAMM. Yep. I will be at NAMM Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, I won't be there, unfortunately. I will hopefully be doing some stuff with Tim Pierce and my buddy Michael Nielsen. And I'm going to see what Pete Thorne's doing, all those guys. So hopefully Sunday will be spent away from NAMM and recuperating, and then Monday back home. So, my brother, sounds awesome. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, we'll see how it goes, the live thing. I'm going to do a test one. And like I said, for now, I'm thinking 20 people in each one. And if 20 is good, then I might try one that's 30. And I can't foresee me wanting to go past 30. That's a lot of people asking questions, But yeah, I'm excited about that. The other thing, the Rock and Roll Boot Camp will be available and very soon, like a week or two in January, to kind of start the new year. So if you missed it, basically anyone who has my guitar courses, I make them available 1 week at a time. And that's so I can funnel the people through there and I can answer questions, because you can ask me questions directly through my school. I don't know what we're getting from Fender this year. I don't know. You know what? The past, I'd say 3 years, I haven't even went in the Fender, the Fender room upstairs at NAMM. Excellent. Awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'll let you know whenever the live lesson thing starts happening. They will be limited to the people, and basically the way it's going to work is the people who get those first 20 seats also get first dibs on the next month. So if they want to continue it, they can, and so on and so on. Ugh. It's time. Probably should have sat that stand closer to me. Supposed to be happening at Epiphone. Oh yeah, something about the headstocks or something. I don't know. It sounds cool. Epiphone's new headstocks are fugly. I haven't seen the new ones. I've just heard about it. It's funny. There's so much more distortion on here than what I normally use when I'm playing the Strat. It's funny. So Monday you might get the video. This Strat, we have just done some mods to it. So I'm not going to say anything other than that. Some of you already know what it is. But Monday's video, be looking for it. It's probably going to be called I modded my 63 Strat or something like that. But so this is kind of not the same guitar that you guys from last time you've seen it. There's some stuff that has been changed on it. And it's all for the better. And one of the things I was telling Ron, the guy who did all this work for me, is the toggle switch knob kept falling off. And I was just telling him, I was like, yeah, well, how I fix everything, but will it chug? I was like, well, how I fix everything and how every person who's ever done guitar work for me, has always complained about is I fix everything with super glue. So like the nut on a Strat input jack will get loose. No. Just loosen it, put a little dab of super glue in there, tighten it down. The toggle switch will come out. I was like, do you have any super glue? Boom, super glue in it. Done. So that's just how I fix things. That's how you fix things when you don't know. Oh, that's a good question. Klaus? It says, any regrets regarding your music career? And honestly, no. There are so many paths that you can take. And I look back now at a lot of different avenues that it could have went. Sorry, excuse me. Needed some water. And I think back to whenever I was gonna go out to Cali to GIT for college. That was my plan. And I decided to stay back and teach, and then that's right when I started doing this thing called YouTube. That was pretty new at the time, and I'm really thankful for the way things turned out. I think it's given me so many opportunities, and I think one of the most powerful things that's happened from this is it might sound odd to say, but it's given me the ability to not do a lot of stuff, that I don't want to do. Some toggles eventually cut in and out. Yeah, so this is a new, I guess it's it's an NOS toggle switch. So that's and a lot of that I shouldn't say, and that's nothing really to do with me. I mean, a lot of that is you guys, if I'm being honest, about the being able to say no, and it's exactly why I'm so heavily guarded about stuff. Man, recently there have been so many companies reaching out about demoing gear and just like different things, and even Sweetwater, I had to say no to a couple pieces of gear that they were asking me to demo, and I'm like, that's just not really something I want to do. What was one of them? Those it actually looked really cool. I was really interested in it. It was those Boss headphones. Boss came out with these headphones that have like a built-in amp in them. It seemed awesome. Like I was actually really excited about it. But I was asking him. I was like, I said I'll totally demo those, but only if I can record the sound from the headphones. Like if I can't show you guys the sound, the actual sound that I'm hearing, I didn't want to do it. And I don't think you can do that. So I had to pass on it. But those, I think, did seem really, really cool. So I haven't seen any demos on them yet, but I'm sure someone will. And they, like I said, they seemed awesome. But yeah, that's like, I talk about it all the time on here. And I'm like, that's why I try not to do too many product-based things on here. The Waza Air. I'm not sure what that one is. Tips on buying a new amp and not actually having... What is that? Tips on buying a new amp and not actually having to pay for it. Huh. I guess I don't understand your question, man. I'm sorry. Have a Katana 2x12. Straight. I've heard really good things about the Katanas. No regrets? Yeah, no regrets. Anadins did a piece on those headphones. Yeah, so... Timothy, this is a 1963, my man. Alex was asking, he said, "Hey Robert, can you suggest any tips or tricks to help relearn music theory? Just started playing again after about 6 years, largely thanks to you." Oh, well, thank you, man. I got your 8-course bundle. Love it, but no theory. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff for theory. So I recommend like starting small with getting into theory. And one of the things, and it might not seem like theory, but it really is learning the notes on the guitar neck. And not just like being able to look at a piece of paper and see the notes, but to be able to grab a note and just be like, oh, that's an F sharp, that's an E, all over the place. So take what you might already know, like your pentatonic scale. And if you're just relearning, you might dig, sorry, not to plug my own stuff, because that's cheesy, but you might dig the Rock and Roll Boot Camp, because it's kind of a step back, and it takes you through your major and minor pentatonic, which I think is a really good place to start for theory. And learn your notes, as in like when you're playing your scale, not just the numbers. But I always tell people, learn what the note is and the note value in correlation to the actual key that you're playing over. So if you're playing out of A pentatonic, well, that's an A note, that's a C note, that's a D note, that's an E note. Then you're bound to your G, and it just repeats itself. And not only that, but the value. So the value is that's your root, that's your minor third, that's your 4, that's your 5th, that's your minor 7. I think that stuff is incredibly valuable in understanding with what's happening, to either the chords that you're playing over or just kind of like venturing into the stuff. To me, that is really, really valuable, and it makes it easy to digest because you can relate it to something you already know. So if you already know your pentatonic scale, it's not a big stretch for you mentally to be learning a new shape, learning new notes, learning new values. Like, it's just kind of like building off of a strong base. This is my old man's old tube hi-fi. Sound different to me. Maybe just biased. Huh. That sounds cool. Any solid state recommendations? I find them far more convenient than tubes. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'd say the Boss stuff is what a lot of people recommend nowadays. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but the little bit that I have, it did sound good. Something Blue. I've spent way too much on guitars this year. That's something I was just talking about. I feel like I bought a lot of stuff this year and didn't get rid of that much. But I always do think it's a little bit funny because sometimes people get upset whenever I'll sell something. Like I sold the Richie Kotzen Telecaster. I sold the SG. And, it's just like, tastes change. And after you've had it for a while, then I feel like, okay, I can be like a really good, my opinion on whether it's a great guitar or not has not changed. It's just like, okay, I kind of had that flavor for a while now. Is that something that I want to keep, or do I want to venture to something else? Like I said, so I sold the Kotzen and put that money towards this one, and I'm really happy that I did that. The Katana reacts like a tube amp. That's cool. Ro Lamp says, "Hey Robert, what's your advice on writing music? I feel like I need to know a lot of stuff to even start. Have you ever tried writing stuff?" Thank you, man. No, I write a lot of stuff. I have lots and lots of songs here on YouTube. There's probably, I'd say like 30 or 40 full songs that I've written for different. If like I said, in the demos that I do, I like to do songs for them, or I'll do like a little intro track or something. But a lot of what I found helps with songs is having a chord progression first. Sorry, this hoodie is like making my back of my neck itch. But like I said, take a progression, for example. You could do something really, really simple. Be out of the key of A. We were doing A minute ago. So figure out like what key you're working out of, like A, if we're doing A major. Something super simple like that. You just go into your 1, the 6, the 4, the 5. But you don't have to do those chords. But I said that's just the progression. I have an idea where I'm going. So I'll take that and I'll be like, okay, what exactly am I playing? Well, I'm playing A major, F sharp minor, D major, and E major. So I'm like, okay, so I can kind of like overlay those on top of my scale and make it more of a riff if I want to. Maybe. What did I go to? D. I did that right? Oh, because I'm thinking wrong thing. And then when E. Yep. And now I can kind of like see the stuff start to unfold in my head. Like you can see like how originally when I was playing it was kind of sloppy, a little bit sloppy Joe, and it started getting cleaner because I started like paving a little bit more of that path of where I wanted to go with it. But like I said, you can see how I was just using the chords A and I was outlining. I guess technically I was leaving out the 5th, but whatever. And now when I did that F sharp down here, but if you look at what I was playing, I literally just outlined the F sharp minor chord. I went to D, using my thumb, then E. And so on. I do have one of those Positive Grid Sparks on pre-order. Sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, I think my buddy Carl Golden did a video on those. They seem good. Like I said, nowadays I really don't think you can get anything bad. There's so many good things out there. I'd say the biggest thing to watch out for, what I think would affect the amp more than anything, is the speaker size. So I have found that even like a good one that sounds really good with like a 12-inch speaker, if you get like the 8-inch speaker version of it, suddenly it doesn't sound that good anymore. And that's more the speaker than the software or the data that's in it. YouTube is blocking all responses. What does that mean? Thank you, Big Red Tower. Yeah, I don't have much music as far as like music you can purchase. But if you go through a lot of my videos, there's a lot on there. Some explosion. Wow. It's crazy. Dropping out. Have a great night. Have a great night, Justin. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Yeah, like I said, there's so much distortion on here. Let me, I'll turn the crazy distortion off. See, that was what did I do there? Dang, I don't know what I did. I'll have to watch it back. But that note was a good note. That was nice. That was a total mistake. I did, yeah. Yep, someone was asking if I switched to a three-way. I did. I will reveal that. Actually, I'll tell you guys. I don't care. I put the three-way in there, and then we actually bought. So the pots that were in the guitar were not original. They were good pots. They were CTS pots, but what we bought were original 1963 Stackpole pots, which are a little bit different, and it added this like snappiness to the guitar. My buddy Nick from the Riff here on YouTube helped me with that. And Gabby actually found the pots too, and then he sent me a link to the same pots. It was funny. They both a good eye on that stuff. But 10. Oh, that's funny. I just realized something. That was a sick. Yeah, I don't know. It was a happy accident. But yeah, this is now a three-way switch. And I'm so happy that I put a three-way switch in here. Everyone kept telling me no. I'm like, I have had five-way switches my entire life. And not that I don't like position 4 and position 2, which I think are, the quintessential Strat sounds. That is just, very unique sounds to a Strat. But having said that, I almost never use them. I'm like, every time I go to position 4, I'm always like, oh, that sounds so good. And then I'll go back to the neck pick. I'm like, oh, God, I like the neck pickup sound so much more than that position 4. And I would just, go back and use it. And also, what this solved for me was, and this is on every Strat I've ever had, my finger would hit the switch and bump me from the neck into position 4. And I hated it because I'd be recording, maybe for a video or a session for someone or something like that, and I'm finally nailing the take, and my hand hits it, and then boom, knocks it into position 4, and I'm just like, man. So now it doesn't do it anymore because it's a bigger jump. I guess I could. The fact that if I accidentally bump it and happen to get it into that wedge position, because I can still get the sound. There's middle. There's neck. There's that position 4 sound. So I can get it if I need it. Like I said, it was never really a sound I went to on the fly. It'd be like, if I specifically wanted that sound, then I would switch to it and record the part. So I can still get the sound. So there's position 4. Here's the neck. The tech guy, what do you do on an HSS? Well, my Friedman is an HSS, and I just use 2 positions. I just use the bridge. I was joking with Gabby. I was like, basically, the ideal Strat setup for me is a 2-way switch. I don't need the middle pickup because I wind the middle pickup for one all the way down to the pick guard. So I never really get a true position 2 or position 4 sound because I have to have the middle pickup so low. So it's like I basically only ever use the bridge and the neck. And the other thing I had Ron do was before, like on the old Strats, the tones, this tone was wired to your middle pickup, and this tone's wired to your neck pickup. Nothing to the bridge, which is the ultimate pickup on a Strat that needs a tone knob. It was so bright. It was hard to play. Like I appreciated it, but I'm like, man, I want it to be all original, but this one thing has to happen. And so this tone is now wired to both the middle and the bridge, and it's helped so much. Because like I said, if you listen to this bridge pickup, like that's tone on 10, but if I roll the tone down, it rolls that high off a little bit, and it makes it way more usable. Joe Mack, thank you so much for the super chat, man. An Xmas gift. Try to make it last. Thank you, dude. I only ever use bridge. Middle neck. Yeah, see? So the 3-way switch is fine. Is your 60 Stratocaster have a neck profile similar to the Fender Modern C? I don't know. You know, the neck is kind of weird. I would say this is actually, now that I've had it for a little bit, I think this is more of a D profile. That's what I would think that this is more of a D than a C. Like I said, that's the nice thing about the Vintage S, because it just feels completely different from this guitar. Like they're two worlds apart. Wow, there's 179 of you guys on here. It's almost 1 a.m. Thank you, guys. How many S-type guitars do I have? Well, that one's technically my wife's, so I won't count that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you saying strictly Strat or like super Strat? Because if it's like a Strat like this, there's only 2 here. My wife's and this one. I do have a couple of super Strats. And then I have a couple of Strats that are like HSS. So I don't know if you consider that to be a super Strat or not. But we do have a handful of them. It's definitely the dominant body style that I own. Could be a U profile. It could, yeah. I don't know. I'm not good with like knowing the profile of stuff. I'm the worst at knowing anything about my guitars, because someone will like email and be like, what's your string height measurements? I'm like, for one, I wouldn't even know how to measure the string height on my guitar, and I literally just turn knobs and screws until the stuff, I'm like, all right, that feels good, and that's where it sits. I don't know anything. I don't even know how truss rods work. Like, I don't even understand it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll loosen it some. That fixed it, and then that's all. That's as far as I go with that stuff, Barry Miller says, "What a story behind that Strat. Good score. Thank you, Barry. Yeah, you know what? It was funny because it was like, it was such a treat to get the story behind this thing, because the guitar itself was already like too good for me. I was like, I don't even deserve the guitar. And then to get such a story and to be able to authenticate the guitar to such a precise degree is something that most people never get to do. So I felt super fortunate to get to not only, like I said, get the guitar that already meant so much, but then you get the story behind it, and it put so many, potential questions that we had to bed. Like, it's like, no, this thing is legit. It is the real deal. Like, we know the person who had it, so it's really, really fun. 5 a.m, early riser. You stay up late. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. here. So you need to do a show with Phil. I don't think I've ever done a video with Phil. You think about YJS new trend, two-tone headstock. I'm not sure. Two-tone headstock. I don't think I've seen it. From the tones alone. Yeah, well, it was funny, because you guys have heard me talk about the Friedmans being like the most resonant guitars that I have. Like, you know, like you can just feel the guitar vibrate. But every time my wife comes up, I'm like, just feel the guitar. You know, it's just so sick of me doing it. But it's like a whole nother level from those guitars. It's just wild how much the guitar vibrates. And I was thinking, I was like, you know, the guitar didn't have paint on it for like 30 or 40 years. So I wonder what that did as far as like drying out and aging the wood. Because I can only think that would have a huge impact on the guitar. So it kind of got me thinking. I was like, you know, if I do get another like old Strat or something like that, like will it ever be like this one? Because I was thinking, I was, you know, there's so many like little things that went into play, and I can't help but think that paint, not like there being no paint on this guitar for so many decades, that it has to have a significant impact on the way the guitar shakes and vibrates and just sounds. You're one of the most fluid players I've heard. I'm not fluid, I'm afraid, but thank you. Almost as if I practice more. By the way, your beginner course has my cousin already on fire. Oh, thank you very much, Barry. I'm really excited to do another launch of that stuff. There's some really, really exciting things. Like I said, in February, I'm going to Nashville, and I'm going to do a couple projects with some of my buddies down there. That you know, someone was talking about the career path. I feel so fortunate to be friends with so many of these players who are just, you know, leagues and leagues above me, who, you know, I get to call friends, and I just look forward to doing some stuff with them that I've wanted to do. So, unfortunately, what happened to the Black Strat? I gave the Black Strat to Jim, so if you haven't seen the 63 story video, go check that out, and that'll explain everything about this guitar. Bradley Robert, been saving money for 6 months. Either want to get a PV 5150 2x12 combo from the 90s or a PV 6505 2x12 combo. What's your opinion on a good tube combo amp, high gain, something blue? I've never played a 6505 combo. I had a 6505 plus head, and I liked that amp. But I did play a 5150 combo before, and it sounded really, really good. So I'd maybe go 5150, like if it's an old like block letter thing, I'd roll that way. Hook up with Eric Andres in Nashville. He's a cool dude and a good channel as well. I love Eric. You know, Eric has been really, really, really nice and helpful with me, and helped me out with a lot of different stuff. In Nashville, like I said, there's so many guys that I want to do stuff with. I'm definitely going to be doing something with Brett Papa. I text with Brett all the time now. Me and him are very, very like-minded, so I'm looking forward to doing stuff with him. You know, I've talked a bunch with Eric, text and on the phone. My buddy Sean Tubbs, of course, RJ Ranquillo. Who else is down in Nashville now? There's so many guys down there. I mean, obviously, there's like 1.5 million great players. I'd love to do something with Ford Thurston. I don't know Ford personally, like, you know, I've commented on stuff and vice versa, but Ford just seems like a cool dude. Did Bert go, peeps? Did he do the old exit stage left trick? Did I go? No, I should still be here. Am I still here? Let me see. No. I'm still. You guys can still see me, right? Papa Stash. That's right. I love Brett. I'm sorry if you're like watching this like, why is he not doing anything? I'm just waiting to make sure that you guys can still see me. I hope nothing happened to the stream. It was going really good. Oh, you see me? Okay. Everything's fine. Okay. What color is that Strat? Vintage white, Olympic white, or what? It's technically a blonde, is what it is. Now, what this is this is called translucent blonde or translucent white. It's a little bit different than Olympic because you can actually see the wood grain through the body. Oh, look, you can kind of see it pretty good here. See all those lines in it? So that's actually the ash body. So in person, you can really see it. It looks really, really cool. But it's a little bit different. Is that no? The refin's all nitro. Yep. I will say that the refinish job on it is amazing. It's a really, really good job. It's all done the correct way. It's thin coated nitro and that translucent blonde white. I can't get over how amazing it is having a tone knob on that bridge pickup. It took the guitar to a whole nother level. Have you had a chance to play a Kiesel guitar? Yeah, the Kiesel guitars are great. You know, like I said, it's kind of like Suhrs for me. Like I've never found one that really wowed me enough to where I'd want to like pursue getting one. But there's no doubt that they're great guitars. You know, I know there's a lot of people who I know personally who love the Kiesels, love Suhrs, all that stuff. So I think just certain guitars are gonna resonate with different people. Wonder why people only want guitars from the 50s and 60s, but new guitar design can be much better. You know what? I don't know. I think it just depends on what you grew up listening to. What's the right way to say this? I've tried a lot of very modern guitars that were very, very nice. Like the Aristides is the one that came to mind. And everything about it is, on paper, a million times better than this guitar. 100%. Like, no questions. It has stainless steel frets on it, which, some could argue better, not, whatever. But on paper, stainless steel frets are better than nickel. The neck's never going to wear out on them. The neck's never going to move on them. The bodies, all these different things. But, when I play a lot of these modern guitars, and I'm not trying to knock on them, I'm just being honest with you guys, the guitar itself is amazing. It's probably one of the easiest playing guitars I think I've ever played. So if that's your kind of thing, then by all means, get one of those, and you'll have a heyday with them. I don't think you could beat them. But to me, a lot of them don't have like life in them. I don't know how to describe it. I've just played so many, and that could be the pickups that are in them. I think that one had Fishmans in it, like the higher output Fishmans. So that could be why it was feeling so narrow sounding to me. But it's something about I just like an old style guitar, and that's probably because if you look at like the players I like, Eddie Van Halen, Steve Ray Vaughan, Warren D. Martini, they played those. So that's just kind of even subconsciously in my brain. So it's like I said, it's just different, it just depends what you like, the by all means, like I said, modern guitars are incredible, but they just don't speak to me on the same level. Jess says, I don't understand buying guitars that are relic on purpose. Isn't it more fun to have one that have a story to get new ones, make relic yourself? I guess to each their own. Rock. Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing. It's a totally to each their own thing. Relics are something that are super controversial, but like Jesse. See, I love the way that you approached it because you did it the right way. You obviously you don't dig relics, but you weren't like mean about it and disrespectful. I don't understand the people who feel the need to be like belligerent about how much like disdain they have for a relic guitar. I'm like, it's cool to not like them, but to me, I don't care one way or another. I care about the way the guitar feels and sounds. Priority number one. And those relic guitars, like I said, the Friedman Vintage T, I don't know where it is, it's right there, is the first relic guitar I've ever really had that was like really relic. And I loved the way that it felt. And it made me play a certain way. And I'm like, oh, okay. So when I ordered the Vintage S, I was like, I want this one relic too. I don't foresee me getting more relic guitars past those two. But there was a thing to them. They have a different feel. So that's kind of where I think relic is nice because they just have a feel to them. With hot rails in a Strat, ooh. On the old guitars are better. They're a fatter neck usually. Yeah. Well, and you know what? The weird thing about these, I'm gonna do. There's a couple videos I'm gonna be making. So one is, like I said, I'm gonna be the one. Like I said, it might be out Monday. It's gonna be called that are level 1 relic. Yeah, there's different levels. Like I said, to me the Friedman Vintage T that's over there is like level ridiculous relic, which is what I asked them for. I was like, I just like beat the life out of the thing, and they did a great job. I think they did a very like, realistic looking relic, and it's super super cool. But the like the Vintage S, I wanted them to tone it down a little bit on that one. Like it's still a pretty heavy relic. I'd say it's like players level relic. But I was like, okay, it doesn't need to go as hardcore as that as that Vintage T was. Carl, I built an amp. Would you try it? Oh, that's really cool, man. Yeah, a lot of that stuff depends on timing with me. But shoot me an email, buddy. We can try to set something up. Right now, I'm not, accepting any more gear stuff just because of how tight the schedule is. But definitely send me an email, dude. Those guitars at factory had bad neck angles in them, and they're corrected in 59. A vintage guitar is something you need to try out first. It is a bit of a gamble not trying it. Like I said, the real early ones, I really think you need to try them. Around 63, I feel like Fender really had their stuff down. So this was, I think, a very safe one, to kind of get into. But yeah, if possible, playing them is really, really crucial. Just bought the Rev G3 pedal game. It's the... Oh, sorry, I just lost your comment. Sorry. Oh, there it is. Just bought the Rev G3 pedal. Game pedal. If you can't afford the 200 head and cab pedal, is the way to go. Yeah, that pedal is awesome. I have a board that I had built for me, which hopefully I'll have soon. I'm not sure when exactly I'll get that. But I have both the G3 and the G4. And at the time that I sent the pedals off for it to be built, the G2 wasn't a pedal yet. I mean, I knew about it, but it wasn't yet. So I'll probably be taking either the G3 or the G4 off and putting the G2 on there. Like any of the finishes, was considering buying a vintage and refinishing it. Yeah, there was a telly we looked at that my wife really wanted me to get. It's a 59 telly. It's really, really nice, but it's already been refinished, and we didn't like the finish. And she was just kind of like, well, why don't you just get this one, and then send it off to have it refinished in whatever color you want, because it's already been refinished once recently. So what's the point? And I'm like, oh yeah, might as well. If we do that, we might do something like that. On the mood and music I'm playing. But yeah, exactly, Tony. Yeah, really good point. Not really. Yeah, that's the thing, I don't feel like anyone has to be a relic guy or doesn't. Like I said, it's just to each their own thing. It's like the people who play the the 8-string fan fret headless guitars. Like, you could not have a more opposite guitar of what I like. But I have friends who play them, and I'm like, dude, even when I was at NAMM last year, my buddy from Friedman, we were walking by, he's like, oh, he took me to meet Tosin Abasi, and I tried Tosin's guitars. I mean, like I said, nothing that is, instinctively, like, I would go try those guitars, and I tried them, and they were great. They were really, really good guitars, so... It's kind of flexing that new guitars. It's actually the opposite. It's me having to be like, no, I'm gonna wait. One thing that's nice is, Gabby's a guitar player too, but we also both have just this like really deep appreciation for, the story of the instruments or just older instruments and stuff like that in general. What's your thoughts on Fender Road Worn series? I feel like I've played those. I can't remember. I think my friend Russ had a Road Worn Strat. I can't totally remember, if I'm being honest, to say too much about them. Watch your video on how to create riffs. I love how you are able to impromptu basis create your either freaking cool riffs. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Todd. I think it's one of the issues I run into, because a lot of people will ask me in the video, like, what'd you play in the intro? I'm like, I honestly have no clue. Like, 9 times out of 10, any of the intros to my videos, that is literally played on the spot. Like, Gabby will focus the cameras. I'm like, all right, you got levels? I'm like, yeah, we're good. And she, like, shuts the door, and then I'll just kind of, like, I'd be like, all right, okay, we're going to riff something. Whatever it is, and I'm like, all right, well, there's the intro. So it's never planned. That stuff's always fun for me, because obviously the lesson is very structured, as in what I'm going to be teaching. So the intros are a way to just kind of like see what's going to happen. Jazzmaster, I'd go Jazzmaster. I'd like to get a Jazzmaster. Couple of thin line Strat models out also. Yes. I forgot he came out with those like thin line Strats, didn't he? Does that Strat feel fret out really easily? Yeah, you can't really do like the crazy bit. Here it starts fretting out. But so you can get about 2 steps out of it, which is about as far as I ever go anyways. So that's it, That Little Wing instrument roll from your video, your new guitar was incredible. Would either be doing a lesson on it? Oh, thank you so much, dude. I'd have to go learn what I did. Cuz it was improvised. So basically what you heard was, I think I ended up using the 4th take. So we did 4 passes on that solo, and I'm trying to remember what I even did. Oh, what was it? What it was. How did I start it? Can't remember how I started the solo. Oh, that's what it was. I went. did I end it? And then it was some kind of like. And then. I don't remember what it was now, but there were a couple of like moments. It was funny because I don't know if I have the original takes of it anymore, but each take I kind of like developed a little bit of a new idea that went into it, and one of the last things I did, which I really liked because it was happening over that chord B. You know, I went. And then it goes to the. I remember that lick because I was like, it was like I didn't even know where like the lick came from. I was like, oh shoot, and I kind of like bend flat, and I just rolled with it. I was just like, I don't know, like it was just kind of like in the moment where it was at, but yeah, but that stuff is always really fun to me because you know you have these different ones, and like each one would, like I said, would have a new moment in it that would happen. So I remember whenever we went into that one section, I originally was going. I did that like the first or second take, and then I was like, well, that's so repetitive. So then I altered it. I went, and I meant to go, and I stayed here by mistake. I was like, ooh. So, you know, like I said, you just kind of have to roll with whatever happens. But that stuff, you know, it's always challenging because I never really consider myself much of a blues guitar player, and that certainly had like a bluesier feel. But it was probably verging more on like an SRV influenced Little Wing than a Jimmy. If I wanted to save gold on retirement or whatever, use them. Wine coils might be a sweet way to hide it, maybe. I would think the SG would be easier. I must have missed something. I'm sorry. Favorite Prince riff? I don't know any Prince riff, but Kiss is the first one that popped in my head. Kiss. How velvety is that rosewood? You know what's funny is how much, like a lot of you guys know, like I was strictly maple. Like I had so many maple guitars for so many years. And it was that Vintage S that I had, you know, at the beginning of the year is irrelevant when building a guitar. That one had a rosewood board on it. And I think that's really where my transition to rosewood happened, was that first Vintage S that I got to borrow. And then slowly I was like, man, I really like these rosewood boards on here. It just had a different feel to it, you know? That lick makes me laugh. Do you have a favorite amp with that Strat? Yeah, actually the Rev Dynamis. That sounds phenomenal with the Strat. With vibrato without fretting out. Yeah, you know, you can. The big issue with this Strat is the frets are so low. So, like I said, in talking to Jim about the Strat, I found out that these are the original frets. So I was originally going to get it refretted in February because I thought it had been refretted before, but it hasn't. So I'm just gonna play it until the frets are dead. The guitar is eerily similar to the Wayne's World Excalibur. It is. You know what? It's so similar. The only difference is 1 year. The Wayne's World Strat is a 64 with triple single coils and a wavy bar. And this is a 63. So like I said, they're almost identical. Why don't I remember the first vintage S? Taylor. Well, it wasn't mine. I wanted that one, and they told me I couldn't have it because it sold on the way to me. They like sent it to me, and they're like, "Yeah, that one sold, so we need it back, and you can't, even if you like it, you can't have it." I'm like, "Dang it," So then I waited a few months and I ordered one. Life in the fast lane. How's it go? Somewhere along those lines. Oh. Up all night, sleep all day. I don't know the words to the song either. I know what you're doing. Almost sounded like how's it? I saw mommy again. There you go. How's it go? Any suggestions on balancing practice between working on covers and originals? Honestly, I've never balanced that at all. If I'm being honest, I just let whatever happens happen. So recently, I haven't been writing any music. I've just been either learning other people's stuff or working on videos, and I just kind of let the music side of it happen when it happens. I'm working on a song for the Vintage S demo. And the riff that I kind of come up with for it. And how to do it. Meant more for the humbucker kind of thing. Has the strap been plecked? No. This has not been plecked. But what I want to do is whenever I do finish wearing the frets out because they're almost gone, I'm gonna get it refretted and then I'm gonna get it plecked. But all the Friedman guitars have been plecked. I feel like this guitar nails that sound. I mean, that's what Walsh is using, isn't it? That's a Strat, right? At least I always thought it was a Strat. I've never really looked into it. Nope. Saved it. I'm like, sharp 9. Someone can correct me, but I thought that was a Strat. Any tips on breaking through positions? Humbacker. I play football. What position? Humbacker. Oh, I didn't know Sweetwater had a pluck machine. Ooh, that might be a video. I have to, at NAMM, I'm going to have lunch with Natalie over there, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that, possible Sweetwater stuff next year. So, we'll have to see. One thing I've found out, it's different working with Sweetwater. Like, I'm doing something with Reverb as well. So they reached out because I've bought 4 guitars on Reverb now, and they wanted to sponsor a video. So I'm gonna do the like things you don't know about a 335, and they're sponsoring that video. And it's really funny whenever you start working with like a larger company like Reverb, because it's almost like scary because it's like to work with them, there's like contracts and all this kind of stuff you have to sign. I'm like, oh my god, like this is like too intense to do all this stuff. And I'm not complaining about it, but it's just funny. And it's the same way with Sweetwater. Initially when I started doing stuff with them, I was like, oh, this is cool. I can kind of get whatever gear I want and just do videos on it. And that's not the way that it's just not the way that it works with any of that stuff. Like you think it would be like, oh, sure, just send him this and I'll send it back and all these different things. And it's, there are a lot of levels to all of it. So it was definitely like very eye-opening to me, doing some of this stuff. So there's a lot of NDAs, yes, a lot of NDAs, but it's also like, not that any of these companies try to take advantage of you. It's just, we're very careful with it too. That probably sounded like I was being a jerk. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like, I don't want it to be perceived as I'm complaining that I have to like, do this stuff. I'm just kind of saying like, it was very eye-opening for me to realize, oh wow, it's not as like cut and dry. There's a lot of levels to doing any of that stuff. How about doing a collab with Anderton's crew? Captain meets Robert would be awesome. I don't think they really only do that with like big artists and stuff like that. So I would say that's probably nothing that they'd be interested in. I don't know much Steel Panther, I'm afraid. Jay Steen, do you have any tips on chord types when using fuzz? It's a different animal. Overdrive, still like a fuzz lesson, not many online. Yeah, with fuzz it's different. I tend to, I stay away from a lot of chords. Captain would hit on. I know Lee, and I like Lee a lot. We've chatted, I think, pretty much every year at NAMM. But the fuzz stuff, when I play fuzz, I approach fuzz differently because it's so kind of like radical of a sound. I typically do more one-string stuff. So anytime I'm using fuzz, it's more riffy and less chordy for me. Yeah. With your true, was it? I've had this annoying habit where if the Jazz 3 pick gets flipped, I have to have it a certain way. I like the Jim Dunlop USA side to be on my thumb, and I was trying to flip it in my hand while I was playing it. It was going south fast. First strat this week, so happy with it, dude. Congratulations, Jaden. That is awesome. You know, a strat is really a special one. I would say out of all of it, and this is not biased because I'm sitting here playing a strat. I would say out of any guitar ever, I think a strat has the most instantly recognizable sound. Then I really don't know what guitar I would think that is more defined than a strat. You know, if you think about, you know, all the other guitars, I don't have the position 2 and 4 anymore, but think of like a Tele. You know, like you listen to like the first Zeppelin album, and everyone's like, is it a Tele? Is it a Les Paul? Listen to the second album. Is it a Tele? Is it a Les Paul? You know, all these different things. And it's because they can sound similar. You know, like I feel like if you heard my KM, I'll switch to the KM here in just a second. I feel like if you heard that without seeing it, I think you could be mistaken that is a Telecaster. Because it sounds very bright, very twangy. But a strat, it's like, I don't know anything that sounds like a strat other than a strat. BB King everything blues style lesson would be killer. See, you know what? And that's the thing, you know, I have people request, like, play an Albert King lick, play a BB King lick. I'm like, I don't know any blues, like, at all. You know, the only blues I know is from Stevie Ray Vaughan. And that's why, like, if you ever heard my playing next to like a real blues player, you'd be like, oh, that dude don't know nothing about the blues. And I'm like, I don't, and I don't claim to know anything about playing the blues. Like I'm 100% a rock guitar player, and I know very little like of like the blues tradition. Like if you ask someone like Jared James Nichol or someone like that, play like an Albert King lick, play like this lick, play this. I guarantee you he could go through them like Joe Bonamassa and all these guys, and I'm like, I don't know any of that stuff. I know rock stuff. Like, I've probably learned more blues from Angus Young than I have any other guitar player out there. Summer 69, most recognizable opening played. What's that? I bought my first real Strat. HSS, yeah, I think HSS is definitely the most versatile of all. So we got a lot from Albert King. Yeah, and that's the thing. I really should, you know, explore those avenues a lot more to understand. Because some people will tell me, they're like, oh, that's an Albert King lick. And I'm like, oh, I had no clue. It's just, you know, something I heard someone do. I shouldn't say that. I would say Stevie Ray Vaughan and Clapton are the two main, like, blues guys. Like true blues guys that I have listened to. Outside of those guys, I don't have a lot, you know, of knowledge of that genre. It's more, like I said, very rock-fueled blues. So let's switch to... I've been sitting so long. Let's switch to the KM. I think that's the first time I've put that guitar in a stand. It stays in its case. It's the only one. I love how different guitars, and like this guitar instantly when I get it, my hand is so familiar with the neck. Like the Strat, I love the Strat, but it's still kind of it's still new. I feel like you don't really like know a guitar. Probably like once you've had it for like I think a year. Like you could have it 4 or 5 months and like really know it, but once you start passing years with a guitar, that's when your hand just kind of like you learn everything about the neck. I'm actually gonna do I'm gonna do a video about my vintage T because I didn't realize I've had it for over a year now. Jackson says, "Hey Rob, do you like your necks more straight or more relief?" I honestly don't know. I was talking about that earlier in the stream. I don't even know what that stuff means. Think about Schecter's Telly with a single P90. Is that the Pete Townsend one? I had one of those, and that's a very, very nice guitar. My favorite scale length is definitely 25 and a half. 100%. I like the Strat Telly scale length. I do think it's funny. People refer to that as like Strat scale length. Telly was first. But yeah, I do prefer that over like a Les Paul 24 and 3/4. You know what's funny? A lot of people were asking in the recent Zeppelin video. So I'll ask you guys: how do you guys like the whole Led Zeppelin Fridays thing? Are you digging it? Because from what I've seen, Friedman's Fender scale, yeah, the Friedman's. It depends which Friedman. So like the Friedmans that I have are all 25 and a half. I also have a Friedman NoHo in the closet right there. It's not mine. I'm just borrowing it, which is really cool. But it's a 24 fret Super Strat, but it's 24 and 3/4, so it's Gibson scale length. Anyways, what I was gonna say, I totally forgot. Oh, I remember now. A lot of people were asking what was the song that I played in the beginning of the Zeppelin one. And that is, of course, Your Time Is Gonna Come, which I thought was a really cool riff. It's always been one of my favorite, like, Jimmy's, like, acoustic riffs, which I don't really play acoustic, so I was like, well, why don't I do, like, the 12-string and stuff? But it's a really cool riff. It's... Oh. Turn it down a little bit. Yeah. And it's actually tricky to get the timing right of that, because it's you come out of this, and what happens is he does it 4 times in a row like that, and I think I cut it short for time purposes for that intro, but basically after he does that 4 times, then he does it 4 times of this. And I love that little walk down that... Oh, sorry. Woman, I'm gonna tell you. Your time is... Was it your time is gonna come. It's so cool. pulled into. Yeah, it almost sounds like Wanted Dead or Alive. Swear, it seems all I know how to play is Zeppelin, so yeah, I dig it. I've been trying to make the stuff more about, like, the deeper cuts of Zeppelin, not doing Whole Lotta Love, which there is going to be a video about Whole Lotta Love, because there's some really cool things about that song that are significant. Obviously, the song is basically stolen from 2 other songs, but in the Zeppelin repertoire, it's a very significant song for a couple different reasons. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do one of those like overlooked masterpieces, like I did on 10 Years Gone. A lot of people wanted me to do it on Achilles' Last Stand, which is another amazing song. Or In the Light would be another one that I think is like this just super amazing Zeppelin song that is kind of overlooked. I'd say In the Light is really overlooked. If you don't know it, it goes, oh, how's it go? Down, down, down. Oh, that's what's good. That's a good riff, man. It's a tongue twister too. Yeah, it's really fun to play. Is that a new guitar that looks old, Robert? Yeah, no, this is an old guitar that looks new. So I don't know if some of you guys, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I posted a screenshot today that had the vintage T, the Strat, the vintage S, and this guitar, and I just said, it's the title of this video. I said, I have old guitars that look new and new guitars that look old. Everyone's triggered, so my job is done. So 295 watching, that's crazy. And it's just kind of a, people were upset, like, why would you ever refinish an old guitar? All these different things, and it's just funny how upset people get about a guitar that isn't theirs. I don't know, like I've never once watched a YouTube video of someone else and their own guitar, whether it's well, I guess I'm never watching anybody smashing a guitar, but if it's just like they're painting their guitar, they're painting their old Strat, they're doing this, they're doing that, I've never once gotten upset, and especially not upset enough to like leave a comment. So I was just like, oh yeah, it's just funny how upset people are by stuff. Or maybe I'm weird. Maybe like just nothing upsets me, enough to like garner a reaction of that like level. So maybe I'm the weird one. Cinderella is really underrated. Oh yeah, man, Cinderella. How'd it go? How dare you have guitars how you want them exactly, Or what was I have to laugh sometimes at these comments, because I feel like if I saw someone post a video of them getting a new guitar, to me, we're all weird. Exactly, we're all weird. I'm always excited. And actually, one of my favorite things, like I absolutely love Instagram, because I like seeing all of my buddies get guitars. I like seeing my fellow guitar, like I said, maybe I'm the weird one, but like a good friend of mine, Ross Campbell, is coming out, like he has taken all this time and effort. He's putting out this new guitar course, all this kind of stuff. Technically, he's, a competitor of mine, but I'm like, who has time to like look at everything like that? Or like Paul Davids and all these guys. I'm like, be happy for your friends. Like, it doesn't matter if it, technically we're all competitors to each other who's doing YouTube stuff. I'm like, so it's like, don't waste your time worrying about that. Just be supportive of each other, do all this stuff. And the reason why I'm going on this tangent is because someone commented on the I got my dream guitar video, and they're just like, not the best sounding Strat. Like, that was their comment on the whole thing. Hey, James. That was their comment. I'm like, who would go to a video that, someone's clearly excited about? It's like if someone wanted a 59 Les Paul and like they're like, oh, I got my dream guitar. I'm excited about it. And I could never in my wildest dreams go to that person's video and be like, not the best sounding Les Paul. I'm like, I don't know, that to me that just says so much about a person who would go to a video like that and leave a comment like to purposely try to bring the person down. I'm just like, who are these people who has time to go around and do this stuff? Yeah, man, people get upset about changing that stuff. So I don't know, it's funny. It's really interesting to me. Ooh, got sloppy there. Taylor. Pat, leave that comment. And it's one of the best sounding straps, though. Oh, well, thank you. I think it is, but I'm biased, about that kind of stuff. So I just know I love it. So bunch of meatballs, bunch of jabronis out there. Would you recommend I fill an empty hole left during the bridge replacement of the hole is being used? It doesn't matter. Honestly, man, I wouldn't do anything about it. I had an old Ibanez where I switched the volume knob to the tone knob. I switched them, and I just left literally the hole for the knob. I just left it. I'm like, I don't even care. Winner starts raging them of slightest mistake. Yeah, I get a lot of those, and that's why I started saying, I was like, hey, you know what? If you think you can play the riff better than I am, upload your own video of it. Otherwise, zip your lip, because I ain't got time to listen to you. Just bought a new amp. What'd you get? I've been thinking about buying one of those Oxbox things to try it out. Oh. Yeah, I love Paul David's Thin Line, and he just got that Memphis 335 too. I was pumped up. Me and him were in a very similar boat. Like, I've tried a lot of 335s over the years, and my 335 was a total gamble because I didn't get to try it first, and I got it, loved it. So my 335 hunt totally over. I haven't tried the HX Stomp, but I have the HX Effects right here. And I personally would prefer the HX Effects over the HX Stomp. Because does the Stomp have amp modeling in it? I'm not sure if too much about that. But to me the HX Stomp is too small. I don't. It's getting too compact, and I know it's probably very easy to navigate. I've seen some videos from Pete Thorne on it, and it seems simple enough. But I like the HX Effects because it's very just like laid out for you, and that's just kind of how I like the stuff. I like it's like the HX Effects is like old school meets new school, and then the HX Stomp is very much like new school, and I don't really care for that. We'll be the losers in the YouTube game. Y2K hits. Going back to our competition comment. Monoprice 15-watt tube amp until I can afford something better. Dude, rock it, man. It's funny. I was seeing the finish is starting to wear off of the. Not wear off. The finish. The nitro is wearing off on the back of the neck. Oxbox 1200 to get an amp. Yeah, the Oxbox is expensive. My issue with getting gear is, so Sweetwater does a thing called 3 Easy Pay, and that is the most dangerous thing ever. So it's not like a credit card. It's literally they break it all into 3 payments. So, and for each month, so like $1,200 would be like $400, and I'm like, oh well, that's way more. Well, I can swing that for 1 month, and then the next month I'm like, it's like, if you look at it, it's almost free. They're almost giving you the, classic guitarists can rationalize anything. Oh, I have not seen the White Lucille. That's cool though. Got a little unskinny bop in there. Acting like you're going on a pump, man. I don't know the next part of it, but I ever learned that first part because our old singer, he could do like the Bret Michaels shuffle across the stage. Sweetwater both have their credit cards with no interest if paid in full. Yeah, see, I've never done that yet. I haven't pursued the Sweetwater credit card or anything. I've stuck to the 3 Easy Pay, but it's dangerous, man. It is very, very dangerous. We actually, you know what? Pretty much everything month for 4 years is practically free. Exactly. They're giving you the gear. They want you to have the gear. It's free. It's the same thing, pay as you play, no interest, but a small processing fee up front. Yeah, so Sweetwater, it's like $10 extra up front. And to me, it's worth it, This rock metal. I was born at the very end of the '80s, so I was born in '89. For 3 years that way. $30 at a time for 3 years. Free. Unskinny Bop. Yep, Unskinny Bop's Poison. Never seen you look so good, but I like it. I don't know the lyrics either. It's like Vito Bratta meets CeCe DeVille. Who's your favorite guitarist other than Jimmy Page? Eddie Van Halen, Paul Gilbert, Nuno Bettencourt, Warren DeMartini, Eric Johnson, Zakk Wylde, all those guys, really. Of course, Page, but you already mentioned him. Let's switch it up. Switch it up, baby. Just gonna set the guitars here. End up clanging them together. Oh yeah, baby! Ow, ow! So like I said, I have a video planned about this one that I'll be doing soon. I forgot to show you. Check it out. I used it. I wore this on whatever video. I want to make sure I had it on. New Ric Flair shirt. I was pretty pumped up when I found this. I was pumped. It's like my new thing, you know. I could, you can order all these shirts online, but I'm kind of like using the Joe Bonamassa approach, how he likes to go on guitar safari. I go on like wrestling shirt safari. I just happened to find these out in the wild, and I saw this one, and I'm like, oh man, they don't have my size. It's way too big for me. It's what is this? I think it's like extra large, but I was like, I have to get it. It's too cool. What scale should you learn after the pentatonic? Dude, learn your blues scale. But learn the blues scale all over the place, you know. A really good practice is learning where all of your flat fives are. You know, if you're doing something like that, like I was just learning a Sean Tubbs lick, and he slides down to that flat five. My mouth's going like, which is really cool because that's your flat five. But what I was doing was, for one, he played it out of the key of D like a nerd. I love Sean, but I was like, okay, how do I take that and kind of like fuse it into something I use? Because this is what I do with every lick that I ever learn. Is I learn it and I'm like, well, how can I take it and put it into my own thing? So what I came up with was I was kind of going like this. Nope, that's not how I did. I went. Oh, it was something like that, and I recorded it, so I need to like work it up to speed. But it's like I said, I liked how it kind of tied his idea because he was, he had that major six in there and the flat five, so it's really interesting. So that was his lick. So his lick altogether was this. Oh, there we go. That was the gist of his idea, and I was just trying to tie it into like something more that I would do too. So then I came up with. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, obviously I don't have it under my fingers yet, but it was just a cool thing, that he was doing. With some Knopfler riffs, but haven't had time to do them justice. Now the holiday season's over. I should have more time to devote. Yeah, man, Knopfler's tough. Can you release the crackle guitar, please? It's just... Oh yeah, I'll do the crackle next if it's in tune. There you go, there's your lick. How many modes are in the chromatic scale? Well, there's 7 modes based out of your major scale itself, but there's other deviants from it, like you have your melodic minor, you have there's like the whole tone scale, and then there's things like it gets weird because there's so many scales are other scales at the same time, so it's like if you play your A harmonic minor, for example, you know, that's A harmonic minor over an A, you know. But if I played that over an E, then it becomes Phrygian dominant. So it I don't know. It's like endless. Do you use your little finger a lot, or notice you don't when playing? Then, yeah, I use it when I need it. You know, what I found is as I kind of like, I used to use it basically exclusively in the early stages of playing. You know, so I can use it whenever I want to. The reason why I don't is because as I got into more bending, and I got more into like the over bending, kind of like Jimmy Page stuff. I liked having my pinky available to do more reaches. So a lot of times what I like to do is I do a lot of, and the bending's more Jimmy Page. This idea is more from Warren D. Martini, where I'm incorporating the major third into what I'm playing. So if I'm doing like a lick, like where I did like, if I used my pinky, I couldn't really do that. I could do it if I slid, I guess, but that's getting, you know, a little bit sloppy Joe. So what I found is I liked having my pinky available to reach. And when I need it, you know, I can use it. I don't have a problem using it. It's just like I said, I found, to me it made more sense. And I would teach people this, is I always said, like, I would rather reach than shift, if that makes sense. So like, for example, take your box 3 A minor pentatonic, for example. Play that very sloppy. Let me do that again. Oh. Okay. So if you look there, what I did was, even though I did this bigger stretch with my pointer to ring, and like I said, my whole logic is I would rather stretch than shift. So if I was to do it, you know, technically the correct way, which would be taught in a book, I would go like this. And you notice how I shifted my hand down to, and then I have to shift back up to get to the 10-13, which would be pointer pinky again. So I have pointer pinky, pointer pinky. Jesus, that's hard to say. 2 times in a row, which already just feels weird. But you notice how it requires a shift out of my hand, and that's what I try to avoid. So to avoid that, I stretch. So I go like this. Notice now my hand isn't shifting anymore. My hand stays exactly where it was the whole time. Where, like I said, in a more strict structured book, they would tell you to use your pinky there. But again, like I said, I'd rather stretch than switch, or than shift. You know, so like, and I could do a look like that. Like, I don't think I could do it with my pinky. I guess I could, but you know, that's why I use my ring finger more. It's just because it started to make more sense, you know, or like a lick like this one, for example. Like I see some people. Now, a book is going to teach you to go like this. Either like this, or they'll have you do like this. Which, for me, I mean, I have big hands, but I don't have Paul Gilbert hands. So what makes more sense to me is to use your ring finger here. That way there's no shifting. I'm stretching again. So I go pointer, middle, ring, pointer, middle, pinky. Again, there's no shifting. I'm stretching. It just makes more sense to me. Do I get demonetized for playing riffs on here? Sometimes it does. You know, I don't actually leave many live streams up. Occasionally I do, but thankfully, like I said, there's been a bunch of people who super chatted, and that's always super nice, and that probably will pay after YouTube takes their cut of the super chat and all that stuff. It probably still would pay me more than the video would ever make, if I'm being honest. So that's super kind of you guys. What feels comfortable is what works. Yeah, and what happened to me was I had to break through the barrier of the rules rule. I was like, oh, I have to do it this way. I have to play like this, and then as I got older, I was like, I don't have to do anything. You do whatever makes more sense. And that's where a lot of that stuff to me started to click more whenever I stopped fighting the way that I naturally wanted to do things. And I started realizing that, it's all about, it's a person who really engraved this is amazing guitar player named Nick Johnston. He said, people said, work on your weaknesses. And he is like, no, I'm going to keep working on my strengths. I want to, so that's why he says he's not good at picking. He is good at picking, but his strength is his legato, his left hand. And I'm like, that's kind of true, because a lot of times, if you're already good at something, well, don't work on that. Work on what you're not the best at. And it's like, not that you shouldn't work on that stuff too, but don't stop working at what you're already good at. Which I think is his overall message. It's like, don't quit working what you're already good at because you're comfortable with it. Keep getting better. Like, hone in on that stuff. Which kind of ties back into what I was talking at the beginning of the live stream, where I said, like when I ascend, I tend to pick everything. When I descend, there's a lot more pull-offs in there. It's just because that's just what worked. I couldn't do it. The only time I can really pick everything descending is if I'm like doubling up. Now I can't do it. You can see how I'm not the cleanest at descending. But if I start adding some of those pull-offs in there, I can get more flow to it. Okay. Oh no, don't worry. I said, please don't think that was me trying to push super chat on you guys at all. Like, please, that was not what that was intended when I was saying that. You can see if I have the gain kind of down. If I kick the gain up on this guitar, turn this off. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. I do a lot of 3-note per string stuff. Yeah, that's probably the majority of what I do is 3-note per string. Hopefully I turn that back on. I never, like, half the time I forget to turn the mic back on. Yeah, this is one of those guitars, like I was talking earlier. I don't know any Peter Green stuff, but I need to. That's actually a 2020 goal for me. This is one of the, like I said, I've had this guitar for over a year now, and I feel like once you've had a guitar for a year, you really start to understand the way the guitar works. And oddly enough, I'm not trying to be all like hippie about it, but the guitar gets you, you get the guitar, and you guys just start to work together differently. That thing tapping like just got me pregnant. That's got to be one of my favorite like stolen licks from Zakk Wylde. As I love his like you know how he'll do that, or he'll do like the other one. Oh, you know I was always afraid to do those licks because I was always like, I'm like, oh, that's like so show-offy. And I didn't do a lot of that stuff. Even though like I would spend time practicing it. I remember when I met Phil X, you know, that was like such an eye-opening experience for me. That's what, 3 or 4 years ago now. And he was just like, you know, just play the guitar. Like what do you like to watch? I'm like, oh, well, I love watching Jimmy Page play it behind the nut, and I loved watching Phil do the. He's like, just play how you want to play. He's like, it doesn't matter, show off. You know, that's part of playing guitar. That's, you know, if you're the lead guitar player, you're the that's entertaining. I'm like, I guess that's true, you know, and it was just nice because I was like, you know what, just play the way you want to play, 24/7. So some people, you know, you're never gonna make everyone happy. But if you're at least making yourself happy, you know, there's something to gain from that. Get Drew, thank you, man. I just love the F sharp area is just like money on this guitar. Medley Trickery, yeah. The Frank Medley one that I always stole with. I've never gotten into Neil Young, I'll be honest. I wish that solo is crazy. Do I use a lot of pedals? I don't have many pedals here because I have a pedal board being built for me, but once it's back, I will. It's like the extent of my being able to descend and pick. I'm super excited to have John Frusciante back in the band. I really like the Chili Peppers. I've always liked his playing the best. I forgot. TJ, you asked for the crackle. Let's see if it's in tune. I haven't played it recently, so... We We will see. Let's see if this puppy is in tune or not. Any speed picking advice? Not really. Just do a lot. Like I said, I'm better. Like I can us-in pretty confidently. It's in tune. Descending was always my trouble, but also I started incorporating a lot more of it. Us-inning as well, more hammer-ons and pull-offs, because I found I just like the sound better of a combination of left and right hand. So a lot of times I don't prefer the sound of picking everything. I like more of the kind of. Can you hear how there's like very accented pick note? You know, stuff like that. I really like that. So this guitar is hard for me to play. Here it is, TJ. The neck's just so small on it. You know, stuff like that. I got to where I like that sound more. It was just more of like a dynamic sound to me. Is really what I liked out of it. So even though I could pick it all, you know, I got to where I liked the combination of. You know, the picking is very aggressive sounding. But I remember my mother telling me, even back when I was 16 or 17 years old, you do know that I had to strap for your guitar and set it. Yeah, right? Do you find trying to keep your bottom three fingers tucked in helps muting strings? I do it differently. You know, I did a video about this, about how I kind of changed my picking hand. Because sometimes I have it more like this now. And I kind of ended up doing like a hybrid thing, because I used to always do this, and now I do this mixture of the two. When I'm on the lower strings, I tend to keep my hand like this now. When I get up top here, you see my hand opens up, and that's just I spend a lot of time figuring out what worked best for my hand, you know, and that's just kind of what worked, you know. I like the sound of a light up. Yeah, I need to put a new battery in that thing. And literally fall back in bed out of exhaustion and pass out. I used to do that too, man. I'd fall asleep with the guitar, wake up to an amp feeding back, and all kinds of stuff like that. Who's my biggest guitar influence? Probably still Eddie Van Halen. You know, he's the one who made me want to play it. So, you know, I give a lot of credit to the overbends and all that pentatonic stuff to Jimmy Page, but a lot of that's also Eddie Van Halen. If you listen to Eddie's stuff, you know, his bends are really, really cool. Like that, you know, that's a very Eddie kind of thing right there. You know, all that kind of stuff is all Eddie. You know, at least to me, in my mind, that's who I got it from. You know, again, Eddie. A lot of the tapping stuff, you know, like the one thing I'm saying, I got it from Zach. But a lot of times, if I just do like a single tap note, you know, that's more like an Eddie thing. So Eddie is always such a huge influence, especially in my rhythm playing. I think Eddie and Nuno are probably the bigger of the two. One time in band camp, What did you do? I can't remember the lick. I'm not in a band right now, but in 2020, I do want to start a band again. Randy had some really cool tapping. Whatever you do with this pick and stuff. Underrated because he plays country. Brad is amazing. Taylor, if you're still here, it's one of Taylor's favorite guitar players. I love Brad too. When it comes to country, it was more like Brent Mason for me was really the country guy who spoke a lot to me. But am I using an amp or amp sim? I'm using the Axe Effects, which is a preamp. So it is a real physical amp, but in order to use an amp cabinet, you have to have a separate power amp for it. So it's basically like if you think of like the two sections that make up a normal amp, you have your power amp and preamp. This is just the preamp. I mean, it's really good. Band and Satchels of Beast. Oh yeah, man, Steel Panther stuff is incredible. What sort of band? It's gonna be a rock band. That's I'll never get tired. I think rock is the most fun style of music to play live. Especially it's such a band-driven style of music. Just you play a chord and you're like, all right, this is it, So it's like you can't. Whoa, baby, watch it now. Sorry. There we go. Let's switch again. So like I said, this guitar is just really hard for me to play. I like it in small doses. Like I said, I love the guitar itself, but it's just it's one of them that's hard for me to play for a long time. Because it physically hurts my hand because that neck is so small on it, and I play with my thumb over the neck so much. Gibson Life. I feel like I'm back at home. How often do I change strings? Not very often, I'll be honest. I play the strings until they're dead as a doornail. Charlie Daniels. There's another amazing. Oh yeah, shoot, yeah. it's never in tune. Banana Hill. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to pull this off. Nope. You know, I make the joke about Les Paul's not being in tune, but honestly, both of them, like the KM, it'll have like little spurts where, and this is probably before I started using a humidifier. In the winter, it would have bad days, but since I've been like, I got a humidifier last year, and then this year we got this one, which keeps the room, you know, real nice and controlled now. I've had no issues. Like this one was out of tune because I haven't played the Gold Top that much recently. I was playing the Strat and the KM the most, but you can hear it's in tune even after all those, you know, overbends and stuff I just did. They honestly stay in tune. I do like Chet Atkins. I don't know any of his stuff, I'm afraid, though. How's it? Mr. Sandman. I always wanted to learn some of that, like Travis Pickens style. Can you give a quick lesson about fret tapping? You know, I'm honestly not good at it, even though Eddie's my favorite guitar player. The way I actually learned tapping from Reb Beach. And the way he did it is he uses his middle finger to tap with, which I do. And and there's an expression video called Cutting Loose. And he showed that he kind of like grabbed the neck like this, if you can see both my hands. And it kept his middle finger, and he just kind of like moved where the string was. And I tapped down. Like some people tap up whenever they pull off on the string. I always tap down. That's just kind of how I did it. But that's just what always worked for me. And I just would start doing very simple things like that. Is really where it all started. And I would just kind of progress from that. You know. Oh. And slowly got more complicated with it. And then one thing that I thought tapping was really good for was, at least for me, was visualizing two areas of the scale at the same time. So I would tap like a scale. You know, something like that where you have to, you almost like have to like split your eyes and be able to see the fretboard in two different spots. Or, you know, then I would move it up a step. Or even something that like Nuno would do is he would take his scale and he would tap like an octave of the scale. You know, and I always thought that was kind of just like a cool sound. Like it's not something I want to hear all the time, but it does have a cool sound. Or you could tap your pentatonic boxes. Like, I did a video. I think I called it like a pentatonic hack, and it just was explaining how when I see the pentatonic scale, I don't see it like this. I'm typically viewing 2 or 3 boxes at the same time, so I see more of like that. So you could tap it, you know, and then move back one and come up with some cool stuff. But tapping was something I never really practiced, so I'm not very good at it. But I can totally see how it's useful. I have players who have become friends with, like Leonardo Guzman, who is amazing at it, and I always admired how good he made it sound. And how am I moving the pick, your thumb, middle finger, with the index? No, I haven't. I've never really, like I said, I've never honestly practiced tapping. The only time I ever practiced it was to do the Nuno tapping and get the funk out of it. I think I still play it wrong. That's one of them. I'm like, it kind of sounds like it, and I just like left it at that. Panama. I'll say this: the tapping that I liked was more like what I do. It's like, which is kind of from the Panama solo. That like I like that kind of tapping is really where I liked it. Eruption. I never learned eruption other than like the, the quintessential parts of eruption. 70 hours of GT4 racing to Panama. Still use Dragonheart picks? I still have them, but honestly, I switched over to these just to try something different, And there's no association with Jim Dunlop or anything like that. The only recent brand I've only ever changed brands once in my entire time being a musician, which happened recently. And all of these changes that I've been making, I had no previous association with any of the brands. It was just me. I'm like, well, I just want to try different stuff. So a few months back, I went in and bought a bunch of different guitar strings, and I just started trying guitar strings, and ordered some from Sweetwater, bought some at a local store, and I was just kind of going through them, and I really liked the Ernie Ball Paradigm strings. I was like, oh, that's cool, and that was just kind of it. I just I switched to I was just buying those strings then, and I got in contact through with Ernie Ball through a mutual friend, and he was like, hey, you guys should talk, and I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I got talking with them, so I'm a Ernie Ball artist now. That's the only time I ever switched brands, and it was just because I just liked them better. I was just gonna keep buying them anyways, so that worked out really good. And Dragonheart, technically I'm still a Dragonheart artist, but I just wanted to try something different, so I've just been using these. So it's just a matter of just wanting something different, nothing else to it really. Our question? Yeah, ask any questions. Reached a plateau in my skill level on guitar. Should I start seeing a guitar teacher or continue on my own? Also, there's not really anyone local to jam with. I personally really recommend lessons. I always, like, anytime I have a chance, I take lessons. I've been bugging Doug Rappaport for years now at this point, asking, I was like, hey, are you offering lessons yet? And then, like, I remember he finally was offering lessons, and I couldn't. I was, like, traveling when he had availability. But it took a nap. Look at you, bum. What was I going to say? Oh, but, you know, I always try to take lessons from guys. I tried to set up lessons with amazing guitar player called Ford Thurston. Unfortunately, again, you know, a lot of these guys, they're so busy. I got lucky to have a couple lessons with Nick Johnston throughout the years. But most of them, you know, sneeze. Woo! Man. Most of them are just, they're so busy, it's hard to, you know, tie them down long enough to get a lesson from them. So I totally recommend teaching, you know. It's a similar situation that happened to me. You know, I'm very grateful that so many people reach out asking for lessons from me. But I don't have time to do one-on-one ones anymore. So if you didn't hear earlier in the live stream, I'm going to be offering a group lesson thing here pretty soon, which will be a very similar format to this, but it'll be a planned lesson with tabs and a backing track and a topic for that day. So it should be good. Yeah, you know. Favorite new artist I've discovered. There's a guy on YouTube called Matthew Scott. So check him out if you haven't. Another kind of like blues rock guy. But yeah, I love his playing a lot. What's a good speed picking exercise? You know, honestly, just like simple ones I think are the best ones to kind of get your hands going. So do something like I think ones like that are better because they sound very melodic. Takes a licking, keeps on picking. So like something like that. So we'll say that I'm viewing it as being out of like A Aeolian. And I'm going to go 5-7 on the high E string, and 8 on the B. And then it's 5-7-8 on the high E string, and that just repeats, and it's all alternate, so it's just down, up, the whole time. So something like that. Now, like I said, I like it because it has an underlying melody to it. I shift up, and I'm just moving up through the scale, essentially. So I'm going to go 7-8. Oh, sorry, wrong note. 7-8 on the high string, and then 10 on the B. And then on the high string, it's 7-8-10. And I would just work on those two, you know, get to where you can transition from them. And a really good way to, if the transition gives you trouble, what I always recommend doing is start by adding multiple repeats to each pattern. So maybe do each one 4 times. So do the first one 4 times. Move up. Now, to make it more difficult, maybe try doing each one 3 times. Now try doing each one 2 times. You notice that your transition has to happen sooner. So this is why it's, you know, increasing the difficulty. Then eventually the ideal is to get down to 1 repeat each. Because now you're working on a whole different facet of speed, which is the shifting of your hand, being able to comfortably not death grip the guitar, because if you do that, you're going to anchor yourself, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to transition. So now we're doing a lot. And then to kind of continue this, move up another pattern. I can't remember what scale we're out of. A. And then get to where you can jump patterns. Maybe go from this pattern. You know, all over the place like that. And then, you know, get to where maybe you can do like a whole line of them. Just all the way up. So do something like that. How many years? I've been playing for about 14 years now. I started when I was 16. So I can't remember. How old would I have been? 18. Yeah, so I was like 16 going on 17 when I started. So I've been playing for like 13, 14 years. Been here for hours, what it seems like now. 7:40 a.m. in the UK. Oh, man. I'm so sorry, dude. You've been putting up with me that long? Boy, I forgot how old he was. Well, no, the reason why maybe I did, but no, the reason why I was thinking, because like technically when I got my guitar, I quit playing that year and I didn't start again until the summer. So I was like, was I 16 or was I 17 when I started? Because then if I was 17, I've been playing for 13 years. If I was 16, then I've been playing for 14 years. But yeah, I do a lot of alternate picking. You know. I'd say alternate picking is like the predominant thing that I do. But if you watch my picking hand, I also do a lot of economy style like influenced picking as well. So like especially when I'm descending, like I said, kind of going back to the first thing I talked about was how I can ascend alternate picking really well. I shouldn't say really well, but I'm stronger at ascending. And when I descend, I have trouble with it. So I incorporate some pull-offs, but I guess what I also didn't talk about is when I'm descending, I also incorporate a lot of economy motion through my picking. So if you watch what I do, like a pattern would be right there. So see how I have two downs in a row? I'm doing like a little sweep, so it's economy style. If you watch my hand, I do it a lot. So like when I'm doing that, that's down, pull off. Jeffrey, yes, I turned 30 in June, so I'm officially, I ain't that young, spry 20 in my 20s anymore. So anytime I'm doing those like descending lines, if you watch my hand, I'm incorporating pull-offs, and I'm also typically doing those economy downs through it. Even like that, like I said, if I did it slow, watch my hand. Down, down. Down, down. It's all over the place whenever I'm playing. A lot of times when I do pentatonic stuff, that's all that Eric Johnson descending 5. Downhill after that, I know, right? It's all downhill. I was 30. I started playing when I was 16 too. Not sure what year that was. Yeah, I started. I was going into high school. So like I said, I might have been 16. I think I would have. I know I graduated right. So I was 18 when I graduated. I had some friends who were still like 17. Switch guitars again real quick. But to what? Oh man. I didn't plan on streaming this long, but there's so many of you still here, so I figured, you know what? I'm not gonna wimp out. I ain't no wimp. Do I ever wish I started playing earlier? Yeah, I really do. You know, that's why I get excited when Mason wants to play. So I'm like, man, I wish I would have started when I was like 7 or 8. Out of the fingers, something. You got any tips on? I have a problem. Maybe try it. They make those little grip things you can stick on a pick. They're like little, basically like sandpaper pads, but they're called, I think, Cool Picks makes them. So maybe try some of those. I can't use anything like that because what happens is I do like Steel Panther, Chris. I palm my pick so much. So like whenever I tap, the little I do, I go like this with my pick, and I switch a lot to using my fingers only versus a pick, just for like a dynamically a different sound. So I'm constantly switching. So if the pick is too grippy, it messes with me. So I can't. So that's why I kind of can't have a real grippy pick. So I probably don't have too much good advice for that, I'm afraid. This thing in tune. I haven't played the PRS too much recently, so. Graduated 3 years before you were born. Hours left in me tonight. Oh my god, it's like almost 3 a.m. here. One thing that's interesting about the PRS is it's such an easy playing guitar. It's like it just plays itself. So, which sometimes is the vibe you want, and sometimes it's the vibe I don't want. But it's definitely like a very welcome addition to. Sleep is for the weak. Nice. Yeah, dude, you're amazing, man. You can tell. James is an amazing guitar player. I can't remember that country lick you were showing me at Guitar Fest, man. Can't remember. Honestly, I'm not tired because I had a coffee before that, and then when I started the stream, I had one of these Starbucks double shots. So I'm pretty wired. Woo! Does he just plug himself into the wall at night? He just plugs himself in. I need to change the strings on these. These are the same strings that came on the guitar. That answers the question about how often I change strings. Rip roaring and ready to go. Wow. Here it is with the direct audio. You don't have to. So there's a direct audio. Would you ideally want for Christmas in terms of guitar stuff? Merry Christmas. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff I want. Like I want an aux box and stuff like that, and that's why whenever my like mom or like mother-in-law and everyone asks me what I want, it's like I don't feel right asking for anything like that because it's all like expensive. And I'm just like, I just want socks. Please, just give me socks. So, ideal situation, if I can avoid buying clothes, I'm pretty content. I finally broke down. This is I'll buy like shirts. I don't mind like if it's like this shirt, but this is like the ultimate like clothing splurge for me was this hoodie, which was I think $8 at Walmart. So if I can avoid buying clothes, I'm happy. 67, 55, 61. I'd buy me some Jimmy Page socks. Old hippies. Nope. Buy me some wrestling shirts. Nope, this is not working. It's almost 3. I'm trying to run the gamut on the legs on the guitars to play. Now I need to find my charger for this boy. This one's just for Joe. People were asking why I haven't been playing it. Cronus. And it's because I've just been liking it a half step down, and any kind of lesson video or anything like that, or if the songs are not played half step down, I don't like to use the guitar just because majority of people play in standard tuning. So that's why like sometimes like you won't see the Jared James Nichols guitar a lot in videos, and you haven't seen this one a lot. It's because they're both tuned down a half step, and it's just like I said, majority of the stuff I do is in standard. One strat tune has that. Yeah, that's the thing, you know. And I alternate what guitars I have tuned half step. It's just this one I just happen to have a half step, and like I said, whenever a guitar sits in half step, it's not used in a lot of videos. If you notice, I use this in my riff videos because it doesn't matter if it's half step down. But any teaching videos, you won't see it in there. You're at NAMM, stop by and see Scott and break my next Cronus in. Ooh, I will. One of those guitars that makes me just play it angry. Like the Vintage T does that, and this is another one. You just have to. Why do I like half step down? I don't necessarily like it or dislike it. It's just certain songs I needed to be half step down for riffs, and that's just like this guitar just sounded really good. Like the Pantera song, I can't remember if they were a half step or a full step down, but I just tuned it half step down, and this guitar just stayed half step. Hold on. Get that low E string to stop ringing. You should just ship that Nags. It's not a Nags, though. This is not a Nags. This is an Acacia Cronus. Took a few jazz lessons. Now I don't feel bad if I make a mistake. Exactly, man. Check it out. Jazz. This has the Fishman Classic, which are my favorite of the Fishman pickups. The classics are really, really nice. Like it really like gooey sounding. You know, so you can just kind of like pick for days on it, you know. I've never been able to do that Zach Wild lick, right? He'll do like those like sixes so fast just on 3 strings. I can't do it. I ain't talking about love. Trying to get that lick down. My acoustic is really messed up. I can't really play it, I'm afraid. I'm not good at it either. That's why I bought a Cronus. I remember last time I charged these pickups. To those of you who don't know, these are active pickups that you do have to charge. But I don't even know where my charger is. So somewhere in the closet, but I haven't charged them in it forever, and the light's not red, so gotta go, Rob. Been a pleasure. 5 a.m. here in Argentina. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Have a good rest of your night. Back to the phaser. About 135. I honestly don't even know. That might be what it is. I don't think I've ever actually learned the Ain't Talking About Love solo. Maybe I have, but I don't remember it. And I think I remember Luke McGee taught me that riff. He taught me that in Great White Buffalo. Like I just started playing guitar. Not sure, I've been playing maybe a year, and I remember watching his band rehearse, and he like taught that to me. I think you can get a 9-volt adapter. What I have is they make something called Fishman has a power pack that works with the pickups. So you can see here, this charges. Boom. There's a little charging port. And you get 500 hours out of it, which I have never... And then the light turns red whenever you have, I think, 5 hours left of full power. And I don't think I've ever even had a guitar turn red yet. So it is... I've had no issues with needing to charge the pickups. What guitar haven't I played? I guess that's what tonight is. It's what play them all. Did I play the 335? I feel like I did, or maybe I played the PRS. They were both red. So hold on one second here. I don't like playing the 335 with the straight jack in. I like to put the 90 on it. Cliffs of Robert? Yeah, that is my version of it. the cheaper version of Cliffs of Dover, and of course you request it once I switch to the guitar with 11s, although it is what Cliffs of Dover was played on. Many don't know that. Everyone thinks Cliffs of Dover was played on a Strat. It was played on a 335. Although these 11s might not be my friend right now. Not 10. You know what? Let me try something here. There's another tone that I've been making. I'm curious. I don't think I've ever used a guitar with it. I'm curious how it will sound. Uh-oh. I think it's not working. Yeah, 335s are such a sound of their own. So this is another tone. This is actually a tone I was making for the Strat. I'm just curious. I don't know if that's clipping or something. Let me know. But this kind of has that more Eric Johnson sound to it. He's 11. Hands are getting tired. These 11s are feeling heavy. I love that like mushy sound that a 335 has, like the neck. What to say when somebody asks if you would recommend a guitar equipped with a Floyd Rose locking drum? I don't know what to say. Yeah, you know, a Floyd is. I think a Floyd's cool for like a minute, and I think it's good to have like at least one, but you know, they are a pain. You know, audio sounds good. Okay, that's no ordinary 335 though. It is a little bit of a different 335. A little bit of a different beast, I guess, because with the, you know, it's if someone's watching and you haven't seen my video about it, this particular 335 is what's known as a 335 Pro, and basically they only made these for 3 years, 79, 80, and 81, and this one's a 79, and it's a shorter scale than a normal 335. So this is actually a 25 or. This is a 24.5 scale length. So a normal would be 24 3/4. This is slightly shorter scale. The neck is shaped a little bit different, and these have the bare knuckle pickup. So they're very hot. They measure in at around like 15, I believe. So they're very hot pickups. Try all upstrokes. Counterintuitive. Yeah. I can't even do it. I've never played a 339. Here's some direct audio of this, and then I'll switch back to the Strat so you can hear. Like I said, this tone is intended for the Strat, but it doesn't sound too bad with a 335. So here it is, direct audio. I'll get the mic killed. play Thunderstruck, I can't seem to get the speed. I think I always play it too fast. I think that's around the speed of it. But so there's that one. Like I said, I'll switch back to the Strat so you can kind of hear more what this tone was actually intended for. Don't bother me so much. I don't hate the Floyd itself. It's just, it's like if you break a string, then your whole guitar is just shot at that point. It's just stuff like that I don't like. But the Floyd itself, like I don't think they sound the best as far as like tonally. But I don't hate the Floyd itself. I hate just kind of the upkeep that comes with it. Yeah, the 335 has dirty finger pickups in it. So I don't know if that's pickups they still make or... Well, I think that's the same pickups that... John Sykes used in Whitesnake. So like I said, so here's the tone with the Strat. Like I said, to me, which is what I was dialing the tone in for, it's still probably a little bit muddy. I'm using a fuzz with it, but I kind of wanted a darker sound because the Strat's so bright. There you go. A little bit sloppy there at the end, but like I said, I like the sound of this particular one. It's like a little bit different than the other Strat tone that I had before. The other one's very snappy, very bright. This one's a little bit more relaxed, and the snappiness really depends on me, depending on how hard I'm picking. You can see, like, I can still get that Strat bite out of it if I really dig in. And I found that's kind of the tones that I'm liking more. It just gives my hands more control versus the amp. So I can control more from just the way that I'm picking and literally fretting and, producing the note versus doing anything on the guitar itself, like knobs or amp. So if I want it warmer, but I still want punch, like if I use my fingers on the neck pickup, to me it's too warm. But if I go like this to the bridge and I use my pick, it's too. If I use my fingers on the neck, it's too muddy and too warm. But if I use my pick on the bridge pickup, it's too snappy and bright. So you have to always adapt. So for me, when I'm using the bridge pickup, I use my fingers. Versus if I picked it, here it's like there's so much snap and bite to the. So if I use my fingers, I feel like it's just this balancing act. It is 3 a.m. here. Sorry, zoned out there for a second. Hit the hay, Buckeye Blues. Yeah, should probably be calling it a night soon. Any final questions from anyone on here? I just got tired. It just hit me. I just got tired. I like it. Thank you very much. Keep drinking this smart water. It ain't working. I was like 5 outside a bale of hay so I could hit the hay. Do you know any reputable store that could heal my first edition Squire Waynes? I don't, I'm afraid. Not around here. Yeah, unfortunately I do not. Great Christmas. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I won't see you guys till after Christmas. So, paint blemish. Yeah, I don't know, I'm afraid. Tired all day, man. I'm gonna go too. Good night. Yeah, have a great night, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce on off here. Thank you all so much. Videos next week as normal. Although I didn't realize Christmas is on Wednesday. I thought Christmas was on Thursday. So I'll have to see. I might not post a video on Wednesday, or maybe I will. I don't know. So because I normally do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But other than that, videos next week, regardless. So I hope you all have a great night. If you're celebrating it, Merry Christmas. If you're not, Happy Holidays. And if you're not celebrating any holidays or anything like that, hope you have a great day. So other than that, guys, have a great night. I'm always thankful for all of you. And thanks for all of you guys for putting up with me. So have a great night. I'll chill for just a second here. Christmas to you and your family. Thank you very much. Get back to practice. Yeah, get that practice in. So that's what I've been doing. So you guys just have to endure my practice session. Keep rocking. Thank you very much. Awesome show. Thank you guys. A Big Red Tower. Thanks for always being so awesome. And like I said, and all the super chatters, all that stuff. You guys all rule. And just enjoy enjoy your holidays, enjoy your time at home. And, I appreciate all of you guys. So peace out, homies, and I will see you later. All right.